Here in California, there could be a dramatic courtroom showdown today as Michael Jackson could come face to face with the mother of the teenage boy he's accused of molesting. CBS News correspondent Vince Gonzalez has more on today's proceedings at the courthouse in Santa Maria, California.
Michael Jackson doesn't have to be in court today, but he and his famous family are expected anyway. The singer, who's facing molestation charges, is reportedly going because his defense team is forcing the mother of his young accuser to testify. The defense hopes to pick apart her story before the trial begins. The mother, dubbed Jane Doe by the court, was also the subject of heated discussion yesterday. Both prosecutors and the defense were upset that this tape of a police interview with her was leaked. On the tape, broadcast by the syndicated program The Insider, Doe tells investigators she fears for her family's safety.
Because there was people that were going to kill the children and me, mostly my children.
Who's telling you this?
Michael's people.
She also claims Jackson's people wanted to send her to Brazil so they could keep her quiet and get access to her apartment.
My apartment was meaningless to them until I told them about that there was letters there from Michael.
Investigative journalist Art Harris obtained the tape for The Insider. He says it paints a sympathetic picture of Doe.
Of course, the defense has raised money as a motive by the mother, but on this tape she says that it's not. She says her motives are pure and that she just wants justice.
God handpicked me and the kids because he knew that we weren't going to fall for any of their money, that it was going to be justice more than anything.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Doe says she called police after her son changed.
You could see he's nervous, frightened. No, Mommy, you're messing up the plan. You're messing up the plan.
On this part of the tape, the mother talks about behavioral changes in her son that she picked up on but didn't know what they meant. She knew that the boy was happy, bubbly initially, and suddenly he was withdrawn and he was unhappy, was crying, had nightmares. And so she started putting, she thought, two and two together and asking a lot of questions, and did not think that the child being with Michael Jackson was the best idea.
Both sides say they are furious about the leak, but it's a common strategy in high-profile cases.
The essence of this is who released it. And I think it probably may have come from someone in the prosecution's team as a preemptive strike, as a way of getting this mother's testimony out there without her being subject to cross-examination.
Today, another round of hearings will be scheduled, and more motions will surely be filed in the future. The judge wants this case to go to trial by the end of January, but many observers doubt that date will hold. Vince Gonzalez, CBS News, Santa Maria, California.
Jackson's lawyers also showed the judge a videotape in an effort to prove that police illegally gathered evidence from the singer's Neverland ranch.
In a trial that's not about physical evidence or forensics, but all about credibility, the mother of Michael Jackson's accuser is a witness you'd have to see and hear to believe. The witness would talk, cry, gesture, and sometimes meander aimlessly, taking the stand after the judge ruled she would not have to talk at all about defense allegations of welfare fraud and perjury. The judge told the jury she'd invoke the Fifth Amendment on those subjects. Her testimony, though erratic at times, did describe aspects of an alleged conspiracy. She talked about the, quote, killers she claimed Jackson and his aides said were after her family following the airing of a documentary featuring Jackson and her son. And she talked about the infamous allegation that on a flight from Miami, Jackson licked her son's head. She even demonstrated the incident. Still, one juror was seen dozing, and others appeared unsure of what to make of her.
There seemed to be a growing disconnect between these jurors and that witness as the day went on, and that's dangerous.
Dangerous for the prosecution, and the defense just let her ramble on without objection. But the mother's bursts of tears and raw emotion could present a danger for Jackson as well.
She seems so incredible that she might just appear to this jury to be credible.
Mike Taibbi was in the courtroom again as her story unfolded. So, Mike, she didn't seem quite as wacky as yesterday, huh?
Well, I wouldn't use the word wacky, but the prosecutors may need several hats to hang on several pegs because the story kept moving. As one legal analyst, Jim Murray, put it, as the morning wore on, it seemed that this accuser's mother's meds wore off because she returned to the form of yesterday when she was totally unpredictable and totally uncontrollable under the very careful and gentle questioning of Assistant DA Ron Zonin. She got back into the whole litany about the killers, she kept calling them, who she said she was told had arrived at Neverland so she couldn't go there, who were going to kill her kids, who were going to kill her, who were going to kill her parents, on and on and on. She kept repeating all that, and again, the jurors seemed to react in a way that suggested they didn't really know what to make of this. Later on, that voice you heard played before was from a man named Asaf, who was identified as a man named Asaf, an employee of Michael Jackson's. And the question to this witness was, and did Asaf give you any particular instructions? And she said yes, to play the DVD of her son and Michael Jackson, her son, the accuser. And he told me that if I put Michael in a bad light, that they know where my parents live. Another repetition of her allegation that she was told at every turn that she or her family or her parents or her children would be killed if she didn't cooperate.
Mike, very quickly, they played the whole tape today in court, right?
Yes, they did. And here's what I didn't hear in it, Dan. She talked about that specific threat. We know where your parents live. We listened to the tape that you listened to and put on the air, and in that break, when Asaf, the Jackson investigator, talks to her, there is no threat. In fact, the words threat, the words killers are not used there or anywhere else in anything, and in the tape exhibits that have been played in court so far.
Daniel, but it sounded like on the tape that she's working with him on that tape. And I know she says she was threatened and forced to do it, but she's sitting there saying, okay, I'll put it here, and no one will be suspicious if you put it there, etc.
Dan, everything about this woman says Michael is innocent. Remember, Bashir followed Michael and these kids around and never found anything that was sexual abuse. Then she talks on this tape that we've seen and to protective services, nothing. Only after the fact, at this trial, when she can make a lot of money, if Michael is convicted, she spins everything that helped Michael with a negative spin.
Dan is treating this, Dan Horowitz is treating this as though it's only a she said, he said, or he said, he said. But it isn't, because all of the testimony has come in about allegations of prior sexual abuse involving other children. So this particular accusation cannot be viewed in isolation. It's got to be viewed along with all of the other evidence. But what about the fact that they knew? Doesn't sound good for Michael Jackson.
But what if they knew about the other allegations and then tried to make it, sound consistent with the other stuff?
Well, that is going to be an issue. What she knew, when she knew it, and that's why the cross-examination is going to be very interesting. And I'm sure there's going to be blood in the water, so to speak, when Tom Mesereau begins to try to take this mother apart.
The big gap in the prosecution case is that from '93 until these accusations, there's not a stream of molested kids. If he really were a molester, then there would be a lot more than just what we're seeing. So I think he's innocent. This is about money.
It was around 2005, and he was having a lot of problems with his life and financial problems that were just horrible for him. And when he made the decision to leave Neverland, he asked his longtime veterinarian, Dr. Martin Dennis, who is also one of our veterinarians, and we've known him since '71. He asked Dr. Dennis to find the best homes in the states that he could find for the giraffe, the orangutans, and the tigers, and so they came here. He was going to a lot of years ago, but then, in fact, we were prepared to have lunch and, do all those nice things, and he had to cancel it for some reason. I don't know what that was, but it was a very, very sad time for him. And so he, I'm sure, feels very good that his animals are being well taken care of. There was no law against him having them. And as far as I know, Michael treated them absolutely beautifully. They had the best of foods, they had the best, best care. I know that when Michael left, he made sure that the crew and staff were there to take care of the animals. It was unfortunate because there was an animal organization who tried to say that the animals were not treated well and all that, and that is absolutely wrong. That's absolutely wrong. There was a period of adjustment when they're in quarantine. That's up on past that great big rock, but it's up on a hill, and that way we not only are sure that they aren't going to be bringing any illnesses in. Every animal who comes to Shambala is in a quarantine for a month. And they get to know the staff, and we work out what their eating, preferences are and that sort of thing. The two tigers, Thriller and Sabu, had been eating the same things that our cats eat, which is the natural balance, perfectly designed by Dr. Dennis for the exotic feline. But the quarantine time is also a very kind thing for them because they get to hear the different animals. They get to hear the lions roar and the tigers roar and the trains going by and the planes that go over, just sort of what it would be like when they're down into the preserve. And the veterinarian comes and checks the animals and that sort of thing. But of course there is a period of adjustment for all of the animals when they come here because it's different. It's everything is new, and depends on how solidly into where they were living before. That sometimes it takes a little longer. But the Thriller and Sabu are very, very well adjusted. They're perfectly healthy. They're, the veterinarians check them all the time. The staff checks them all the time. And, they've got a body of water by the lake that they can swim in, which is very important for tigers. And they seem to be doing, really well. I was here. I was at the preserve. I was in my home. I suppose it'll be something kind of like, where were you when Kennedy was shot? Michael was an extremely powerful man on our planet, and it's a great loss. We are a sanctuary, which means no breeding, no buying, no selling, no trading, no commercial use outside the city limits. The animals will be there for life, be here for life. You can help the Shambala Preserve and Thriller and Sabu by donating. It's a very costly thing to try to do. I have to raise $75,000 every month to keep Shambala afloat. And as you can well imagine, in this economy, it's difficult. So possibly if you love Michael and you love animals, it would be a very nice tribute to the three of them. And all the information is at shambala.org. As far as I know, Michael treated them absolutely beautifully. They had the best of foods, they had the best, best care. I know that when Michael left, he made sure that the crew and staff were there to take care of the animals. It was unfortunate because there was an animal organization who tried to say that the animals were not treated well and all that, and that is absolutely wrong. That's absolutely wrong.
Now also included in her magical menagerie, 2 of Michael Jackson's tigers, Thriller and Sabu.
Hi, Thriller. Oh, you're so beautiful.
Thriller doesn't look that thrilled to see us.
His animals were absolutely beautifully taken care of.